It's a funny thing, the weight of the universe. You never really feel it until it's bearing down on you, crushing the air from your lungs and the hope from your heart. And let me tell you, I'm feeling it now. The whole fucking cosmos, balanced on the tip of my claw. My name is Vortax Xen, and I am royally screwed. I'm writing this on a stolen datapad as I hurtle through the void on a rust bucket of a ship, my hatchling curled in a shivering ball at my feet. The stars outside the viewport mock me with their cold indifference. They don't care about the blood on my hands or the sin in my soul. They just keep on shining, a billion distant judges witnessing my fall. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning, before everything went to hell. I was a scientist once, if you can believe it. A damn good one too. A rising star in the Zylovian technocracy. I had it all. A shiny lab in the floating city of Zenkari, a loving mate, and a freshly hatched son with a mind like a supernova. Life was good.
But pride, as they say, comes before a fall, and my pride was a black hole, devouring everything in its path. It started with a whisper, a rumor passed in furtive data bursts between the Zylovian scientific elite, the Omega Codex. They called it a set of equations that promised to unlock the secrets of the universe. Unlimited energy, faster than light travel, even the power to bend space and time to our will. It was the holy grail of science, and I was determined to claim it as my own. I poured my heart and soul into the pursuit, neglecting my mate Zyra and our little Zaid in favor of long cycles spent hunched over holographic displays and quantum processors. Zyra begged me to slow down, to remember my family, but I was too far gone, drunk on the promise of glory. And then, a breakthrough, hidden deep within the dense mathematics of the Codex. I found it, the key to harnessing zero-point energy, the limitless power that thrums in the fabric of the cosmos. I called it the Omega Engine, and it was beautiful, elegant, powerful beyond imagining. The Nexus, the ruling council of the Technocracy, were beside themselves with excitement. They poured resources into my project, gave me a team of the brightest minds on Xylox. We worked day and night, pushing the boundaries of science and reason, determined to bring the Omega Engine to life. But the deeper we delved, the more I began to realize the terrible truth. The Omega Engine wasn't just a power source, it was a weapon. A doomsday device capable of unraveling the very threads of reality. In the wrong hands, it could bring about the end of everything. I tried to voice my concerns, to urge caution and restraint, but the Nexus wouldn't listen. They were too enamored with the promise of absolute power, drunk on visions of a Zylovian empire spanning the stars. They told me to shut up and get back to work. I thought about quitting, about walking away before it was too late, but I was in too deep, too invested in my own brilliance. And if I'm being honest, a part of me wanted to see it through, to hold the power of creation and destruction in my claws. So I did the only thing I could think of. I stole the plans for the Omega Engine and I ran. I'll never forget that night, the night I betrayed everything I knew. Zyra woke to find me frantically downloading data files and wiping servers. I told her everything, poured out my fears in a jumbled rush. To her credit, she didn't hesitate. She grabbed Zaid and a few necessities, and together we fled into the neon-soaked night of Zenkari. But we didn't get far. The Nexus had eyes everywhere, and it didn't take them long to put the pieces together. They branded us traitors and terrorists, put a bounty on our heads that had every lowlife and gangster on Xylox howling for our blood. We went to ground in the seediest underbelly of the city, a warren of vice and violence where even the Nexus feared to tread. We traded our knowledge and skills for a bed and a meal, trying to stay one step ahead of the hunters, but it was only a matter of time. They caught up to us in a filthy alleyway behind a spice den, a dozen heavily armed thugs, led by a grinning brute with a cybernetic arm and a reputation for savagery. They wanted the Omega Engine plans, and they were ready to carve them out of our flesh if need be. I tried to run, to draw them away from Zyra and Zaid, but I was too slow, too weak. The brute caught me easily, slammed me against a wall with a durasteel claw around my throat. I felt my exoskeleton crack, tasted my own blood on my tongue, and then, a miracle, Zyra, my brilliant, beautiful mate, stepped out of the shadows with a plasma cannon in her hands and fire in her eyes. I had never loved her more than in that moment. The thugs didn't stand a chance. Zyra mowed them down like stalks of wheat, her aim true and her hand steady. When it was over, the alleyway was a smoking ruin and the brute was a twitching husk at her feet. But our victory was short-lived. As we fled the carnage, Zaid's cries echoing off the bloodstained walls, We heard the sound we had been dreading, the high-pitched whine of Nexus patrol drones. They were on us in seconds, a swarm of sleek black machines with stun rifles and capture nets. I fired my own weapon until the power cell ran dry, screaming obscenities and prayers in equal measure. But it wasn't enough. It was never going to be enough. I saw Zyra fall, a stun bolt taking her in the back as she shielded Zaid with her body. I saw my son, my beautiful boy, snatched up by a drone's grasping claws, his wails of terror stabbing me like 1,000 knives. And then, a blinding pain in my head, and darkness claiming me. I awoke in a holding cell, my body broken and my spirit shattered. Zyra was gone, taken to the stars only knew where. And Zaid. My precious Zaid was lost to me, a pawn in the Nexus cruel games. The Technocracy wanted the Omega engine plans, and they were ready to use my son as leverage. They gave me an ultimatum, give them what they wanted, or Zaid would be sold into the flesh pits of Caraxos, where hatchlings are traded like chattel and innocence is a commodity. I had no choice. I handed over the data files, watched as the Nexus scientists poured over my life's work with hungry eyes. And then, when they had what they wanted, they cast me aside like a broken tool. But they underestimated me. They didn't count on the fire that burns in a father's heart, the lengths a parent will go to for their child. They thought they had broken me, but all they did was forge me into something new, something harder, something stronger. I escaped from that cell, clawed my way out of that pit of despair with blood and fury. I stole a ship and set a course for the stars, chasing whispers and rumors of my lost family. And now, here I am, hurtling through the void with nothing but vengeance and desperation for company. The Omega engine plans are still out there, a ticking bomb waiting to detonate. And my son. My Zaid is lost in the belly of the beast, a prisoner of the very evil I helped create. But I will find them. I will save my boy and undo my sins, even if I have to tear the galaxy apart with my bare claws. I will have my reckoning, and the Nexus will learn the true price of their hubris. It won't be easy. I am one broken Zylovian against an empire, but I have a secret weapon, a final hope that even the Nexus in their arrogance never saw coming. Humans, those clever, stubborn, indomitable primates from the backwater planet called Earth. They have a saying, a scrap of wisdom that has lodged itself in my brain like a thorn. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And right now, I need all the friends I can get. The humans have no love for the Zylovian technocracy, no stake in their galactic pissing contest, but they have an unmatched capacity for violence and cunning, and a burning desire to stick it to the powers that be. If I can find them, convince them to join my cause, then maybe, just maybe, I have a chance to save my son, to atone for my mistakes, and to bring the Nexus to their knees. It's a long shot, a desperate gamble on the roulette wheel of fate, but it's all I have left. The last card up my sleeve in a game I never meant to play. So that's my story. For what it's worth, the confessions of a fool who flew too close to the sun on wings of ambition and arrogance. A cautionary tale for the ages, written in the blood and tears of the innocent. But also, perhaps, a message of hope. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, in the coldest corners of the cosmos, there is still a flicker of light, a chance for redemption, for justice, for love to conquer all. And if that flicker lives in the hearts of humans, those strange and marvelous creatures so different from myself, then maybe, just maybe, there is still a chance for us all. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, I have to find them, and that means plunging headlong into the seedy underbelly of the galaxy, into a world of smugglers and mercenaries, of ancient ruins and forgotten secrets. It means facing down the demons of my past and the monsters of my own creation. It means risking everything on the slim hope of a better tomorrow. But for Zaid, for Zyra, for the chance to hold my family in my arms again and beg their forgiveness, I would risk so much more. The stars are waiting, and the clock is ticking. The Omega Codex is out there, and with it, the fate of the universe. It's time to roll the dice and see where they fall. May the gods of luck and fools smile upon me, absolutely. I'm happy to continue crafting this story while staying within reasonable content boundaries. We can aim for a tale that's gritty and intense, touching on some mature themes, but without graphic or gratuitous depictions. The goal will be to create a gripping, suspenseful narrative that suggests the darker elements of this universe without losing its humanity or crossing ethical lines. Here is part 2 of the Omega Codex, written from Vortax's perspective. Entry 2. A candle in the dark space is cold, colder than I ever imagined, a vast emptiness that leaches the warmth from your bones and the hope from your heart. Out here, in the endless night between worlds, it's easy to believe you're the only soul in existence. Easy to forget the teeming trillions that make up galactic society, all those lives and loves and dreams. In the silence of the void, all you have is your own thoughts. And mine are dark indeed. It's been 3 cycles since I fled Xylox, since I left my mate and child in the clutches of the Nexus. 3 cycles of jumping from system to system, chasing rumors and whispers, hunting for some sign of Zyra and Zaid, or the humans who might be my only hope of finding them. But the galaxy is a big place, and I am just one lost soul, one broken father with a stolen ship and a head full of dangerous secrets. The Omega Codex weighs heavy on my mind, a burden and a curse. With every parsec I travel, I can feel it pulsing beneath my exoskeleton, a dark seed waiting to sprout. I've had a lot of time to think out here in the black, to turn over the events that led me to this point, and the more I ponder, the more I'm convinced that my work on the Omega engine wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a violation, a transgression against the natural order of things, a crossing of lines that were never meant to be crossed. We Zylovians, in our arrogance, thought ourselves the masters of matter and energy. We believed we could bend the fundamental forces of the universe to our will, shape reality itself to suit our whims. But there are some powers that should not be trifled with, some doors that are better left unopened. The Omega Codex is one such power, a set of equations that describe the underlying matrix of existence, the cosmic source code that underlies the fabric of space and time. In the wrong hands, it could unravel that fabric, tear holes in the tapestry of reality, and I put it in those wrong hands. Blinded by ambition, I handed the Nexus the keys to doomsday, and in doing so, I put everything I love at risk. But I'm not ready to give up. Not yet. Not while there's still a flicker of hope, however faint. That hope has a name. Jaren Mavic, a human smuggler, a rogue trader who deals in secrets and shadows. If the whispers are true, Mavic is the best there is at slipping through the cracks in the galaxy's armor. If anyone can help me find my family and keep the Omega Codex out of the Nexus claws, it's him. Of course, trusting a human is a gamble. Their species is unpredictable, driven by passions and impulses that often defy logic, but they are also resourceful and tenacious, with a knack for accomplishing the impossible. And right now, I need a little impossible on my side. Finding Mavic won't be easy. His kind rarely venture into the Zylovian sector, and for good reason. The Technocracy's prejudice against lesser races is well known, and the penalties for unauthorized entry are severe. But there are always cracks in the armor, always shadows where the light of law doesn't reach. One such shadow is Nexus Station, a ramshackle outpost on the fringes of technocratic space. A place where the dregs of a dozen species mingle and scheme, where anything can be bought for the right price, including information. As I guide my ship into Nexus docking bay, I feel a flicker of trepidation. I'm a long way from the gleaming spires of Zenkari, from the life of privilege and prestige I once knew. Out here, I'm just another desperate soul, another scrap of flotsam adrift in the cosmic tide. The station's interior is a labyrinth of narrow corridors and seedy bars, the air thick with the stench of recycled oxygen and illicit spice. Zylovians rub elbows with Quaxians, KRYLL, and a dozen other races, all united in their pursuit of vice and profit. I keep my head down and my wits sharp, knowing that any one of them would sell me to the Nexus for a handful of credits. My first stop is a dingy tavern called the Neutron Star, a notorious haunt for smugglers and infobrokers. If Mavic has been through here, someone will know. I settle into a booth at the back, ignoring the hostile stares from the other patrons. I may be a fugitive, but I still carry myself with the bearing of a Zylovian elite. Some habits die hard. I signal the bartender, a surly Quasian with a cybernetic eye. I'm looking for a human, I say, keeping my voice low. Goes by the name of Jaren Mavic. I'm told he's the best at what he does. The Quaxian's organic eye narrows, his prosthetic whirring softly as it focuses on me. Mavic's not exactly a low-profile operator, he grumbles. What's your business with him? I lean forward, letting a hint of desperation creep into my voice. I need his help. I'm trying to find my family. They were taken by the Nexus, and I think Mavic might be able to locate them. It's a half-truth, but a convincing one. The Quaxian's gaze softens a fraction, and he gives a curt nod. The human was here a few cycles ago, he says. Word is he was heading for the Viridian system, running a job for some KRYLL warlord. That's all I know. It's not much, but it's a start. The Viridian system is a lawless expanse, a no-man's land where the technocracy's influence is weak. If Mavic is there, he shouldn't be too hard to track down. I thank the bartender and slide him a few credits, then melt back into the crowd. As I make my way back to the docking bay, my mind races with possibilities. The Viridian system is a dangerous place, a haven for pirates and mercenaries, but it's also a place where a skilled operator can disappear, where secrets can be bought and sold without the Nexus prying eyes. If I can find Mavic there, if I can convince him to help me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, I have to make it to Viridian in one piece, and with the Nexus no doubt hot on my trail, that's far from guaranteed. I'm just reaching my ship when I feel it, a prickle on the back of my neck, a sense of being watched. I spin around, my hand dropping to the pulse pistol at my hip, and find myself face to face with a figure from my past. "Hello, Vortax," purrs a silken voice. "It's been a long time." My blood runs cold as I take in the sleek, silver form before me, lithe and deadly, with eyes like molten gold and a cruel smile playing across her lips. "Zasha," I breathe, my voice a hoarse whisper. "What are you doing here?" Zasha Vex, my former colleague at the Science Institute, a brilliant mind, a ruthless ambition, and the Nexus' most lethal assassin. The last time I saw her, she was overseeing the Omega Engine project alongside me. Now, it seems, she's been tasked with hunting me down. "I think you know why I'm here, Vortax," she says, taking a step closer. "The Nexus wants what you stole, the Omega Codex, and they're prepared to do whatever it takes to get it back." I feel a surge of anger, hot and bitter in my throat. "And what about my family?" I snarl. "What about Zyra and Zaid? Are they just collateral damage to you?" Zasha's smile widens, sharp and predatory. "Your mate and hatchling are safe. For now, the Nexus has them in protective custody, but their continued well-being depends entirely on your cooperation." It's a threat and a promise, all in one. A reminder of the leverage they hold over me, the chains that bind me to their will. But I've come too far to surrender now. Too much is at stake. "I can't give you the Codex, Zasha," I say, my voice steady despite the fear churning in my gut. "It's too dangerous. In the wrong hands, it could destroy everything." Zasha's eyes flash with anger, her composure slipping for just a moment. "And you think your hands are the right ones?" She hisses. "You, who betrayed your own people? Who abandoned your duty and your honor?" "I'm trying to save lives," I counter, my own anger rising to meet hers. "I'm trying to prevent a catastrophe that could wipe out the entire galaxy. Can you say the same?" For a long moment, we stare each other down, two old friends turned bitter enemies. I can see the conflict in Zasha's eyes, the war between duty and conscience. She is a product of her training, a loyal servant of the technocracy. But she is also a scientist, a seeker of truth. In the end, it's that glimmer of doubt that saves me, that moment of hesitation, of uncertainty. I see my chance and I take it, lunging forward and slamming my fist into Zasha's jaw with all my strength. She staggers back, stunned, and I press my advantage. A swift kick to the abdomen, a chop to the throat, and she goes down, gasping for air. I stand over her, my chest heaving, my heart pounding in my ears. "I'm sorry, Zasha," I whisper, my voice thick with regret, "but I can't let you stop me. Too much depends on this." I turn and run, leaving my former friend sprawled on the cold metal floor. I don't look back as I board my ship and fire up the engines, as I punch in the coordinates for the Viridian system with shaking hands. As the stars blur into the swirling vortex of hyperspace, I feel a weight settle over me. The weight of my choices, my sins, my desperate hopes. I've crossed a line now, burned a bridge that can never be rebuilt. There's no going back to the life I once knew. No return to the gleaming cities and soaring spires of Zylovian civilization. I am an exile, a renegade, a hunted man with nothing left to lose. But I also have everything to fight for. My family, my honor, my chance at redemption. And out there in the lawless reaches of space, among the smugglers and the rebels and the desperate dreamers, I might just find someone willing to fight alongside me. The stars are waiting, and the clock is ticking. The Omega Codex pulses beneath my skin, a reminder and a warning. I've rolled the dice, and now it's time to see where they fall. May the gods of fortune favor the bold. The Viridian system, a lawless expanse on the fringes of civilized space, a haven for the lost and the damned, pirates and mercenaries, smugglers and spice runners, all drawn to this place like moths to a flame. Out here, the only law is the law of the gun, the only justice the kind you make for yourself. It's a dangerous place, a bloody place, but for a desperate man with nowhere else to turn, it might just be the only place. As I guide my ship through the swirling clouds of the Viridian Nebula, I feel a sense of unease prickling at the back of my neck. I've heard stories about this place, whispers traded in the shadowy corners of Zylovian society, tales of ancient ruins and eldritch horrors, of fortunes won and lives lost in the blink of an eye. But I've come too far to turn back now. The Omega Codex is a leaden weight in my mind, a ticking bomb that could unravel the very fabric of the universe. And my family. Zyra and Zaid are out there somewhere, lost in the vastness of the cosmos. I have to find them, have to save them from the clutches of the Nexus. And to do that, I need Jaren Mavic. The human smuggler is a ghost, a whisper on the stellar wind. He moves through the underworld of the galaxy like a wraith, leaving no trace of his passing. But if the rumors are true, he's the best there is at finding people who don't want to be found. And right now, that's exactly what I need. I set my ship down on the outskirts of Viridian Prime, the system's only inhabited world. It's a rough place, a frontier town writ large across the face of a blasted planet. The streets are narrow and crowded, the buildings a jumble of prefab modules and jury-rigged shelters. The air is thick with the stench of unwashed bodies and cheap intoxicants, a miasma of desperation and decay. I make my way through the throngs of scoundrels and lowlifes, keeping a watchful eye on the shadows. In a place like this, danger lurks around every corner. I can feel the weight of hostile stares on my back, the prickle of unease between my shoulder blades. A Zylovian elite, even a renegade one, is not a welcome sight in these parts. But I press on, driven by a sense of urgency that borders on desperation. Every moment I waste is another moment my family remains in peril, another chance for the Nexus to tighten their grip on the Omega Codex. I can't afford to hesitate, can't afford to second-guess myself. After hours of searching, I finally catch a break. A grizzled old KRYLL mercenary, his chitin scarred with the marks of 100 battles. Let's slip that he saw Mavic at a local cantina a few cycles ago. It's not much, but it's a lead. I press a few credits into his gnarled claw and set off in the direction he indicates, my heart's pounding with a mix of hope and trepidation. The cantina is a seedy affair, a dimly lit den of iniquity tucked away in a forgotten corner of the spaceport. The air is thick with the stench of spice and stale sweat, the walls vibrating with the thrum of discordant music. I push my way through the crowd of drunken revelers and jaded spacers, scanning the room for any sign of my quarry, and there, in a shadowy booth at the back of the room, I see him, Jaren Mavic, the human smuggler. He's younger than I expected, his face unlined and his eyes sharp. He has the lean, hungry look of a predator, a coiled energy that speaks of danger and cunning in equal measure. I approach cautiously, sliding into the seat across from him. He looks up, his gaze raking over me with a cool appraisal. You're a long way from home. Zylovian, he drawls, his voice a lazy rumble. What brings you to this wretched hive of scum and villainy? I lean forward, lowering my voice to a whisper. I need your help, I say, trying to keep the desperation from my tone. I'm looking for someone, two someones, actually, my mate and my hatchling. They were taken by the Nexus, and I think you might be able to find them. Mavic's eyes narrow, a flicker of interest sparking in their depths. The Nexus, huh? He muses. They're not exactly known for their mercy. What did you do to piss them off? I hesitate, weighing my options. I don't know if I can trust this human. Don't know if he'll betray me to the highest bidder. But I'm out of options, out of time. I have to take the risk. I stole something from them, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. Something dangerous. The Omega Codex. Mavic's eyes widen, a hint of alarm creeping into his expression. The Omega Codex? He hisses. Are you insane? That thing is a legend, a myth, and even if it is real, it's not something you want to be messing with. I know, I say, my shoulders slumping. Believe me, I know, but I didn't have a choice. The Nexus. They were going to use it to create a weapon, a doomsday device that could wipe out entire star systems. I couldn't let that happen. Mavic leans back in his seat, his gaze calculating. And now they have your family, he says slowly. Leverage, to make you give it back. I nod, my throat tight. I need to find them, I say, my voice cracking. I need to get them back, before it's too late, and I need your help to do it. For a long moment, Mavic is silent, his eyes boring into mine. I can almost see the gears turning behind those flinty orbs, the calculations of risk and reward. I hold my breath, my heart's hammering in my chest, and then, slowly, he nods. All right, he says, his voice low and grim. I'll help you, but not for free. I want a cut of whatever you're planning to do with that codex once you get it back. I blink, taken aback. I'm not planning to do anything with it, I stammer. I just want to keep it out of the wrong hands. Mavic snorts, a humorless sound. Right, he drawls. And I'm the Queen of Sheba. Look, Zylovian, I know you're kind. You're all about the big picture, the grand schemes. You wouldn't have stolen that thing if you didn't have a plan for it. I open my mouth to protest, but he cuts me off with a wave of his hand. Doesn't matter, he says. Keep your secrets, for now. But when the time comes, I want in. Deal? I hesitate, my mind racing. Can I trust this human, this rogue with a mercenary streak a parsec wide? Can I afford not to? In the end, it's not much of a choice. I need Mavic's help, need his skills and his connections, and if the price of that help is a share of the codex, well, it's a price I'll have to pay. Deal, I say, my voice heavy with resignation. Now, where do we start? Mavic leans forward, a predatory grin spreading across his face. We start with information, he says, his voice low and conspiratorial. The Nexus may be a bunch of uptight pricks, but they're not invincible. They have weaknesses, blind spots. We just need to find them. And so begins a partnership born of desperation and necessity, a fragile alliance between a renegade scientist and a jaded smuggler, a partnership that will take us to the darkest corners of the galaxy, to ancient ruins and secret bases, in search of answers and retribution. It's a dangerous game we're playing, a high-stakes gamble with the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. But for Zyra and Zaid, for the chance to hold my family in my arms once more, I'll risk everything. The Viridian Nebula swirls outside the viewport, a maelstrom of color and light. Somewhere out there, in the vastness of space, my loved ones are waiting for me to find them, to save them, to bring them home. And with Jaren Mavic at my side, with the Omega Codex as my trump card, I might just have a chance. The game is on, and the stakes have never been higher. May the gods of fortune smile upon us all. Here's part 4 of the Omega Codex, written from Vortax's perspective. Entry 4, Ghosts of the Past. The KRYLL mercenaries' information proves to be good. Mavic and I spend the next few cycles chasing down leads, piecing together a picture of the Nexus movements in the Viridian system. It's not an easy task. The Technocracy's agents are well trained in the art of subterfuge, and they cover their tracks with ruthless efficiency. But Mavic is nothing if not resourceful. He has contacts in every port, informants in every spaceport dive and black market bazaar. Slowly but surely, we begin to unravel the web of secrets and lies, to glimpse the shape of the Nexus plans. And what we find is troubling indeed. It seems the Technocracy is not content with merely reclaiming the Omega Codex. They want to use it, to harness its power for their own ends. Whispers reach us of a secret research facility, a hidden base where Nexus scientists are working to unlock the secrets of the Codex. The thought fills me with dread. The Omega Codex is not a toy, not some puzzle to be solved. It is a fundamental force of the universe, a power beyond the ken of mortal minds. To tamper with it is to court disaster on a cosmic scale. But the Nexus, in their arrogance, believe they can control it. They think they can bend the laws of reality to their will, shape the very fabric of space and time. They are fools, blinded by their own hubris, and my family. Zyra and Zaid are caught in the middle, pawns in a game they never asked to play. Every moment we waste is another moment they remain in danger, another chance for something to go horribly wrong. We need to act, and fast. But first, we need more information. We need to find that research facility, to infiltrate its secrets and uncover the truth. It's a daunting task, but Mavic has a plan. There's a Nexus supply ship scheduled to arrive in the system in a few cycles, a heavily guarded transport carrying classified cargo. If we can intercept it, if we can breach its defenses and access its databanks, we might just find the location of the facility, and with it, the key to saving my family and stopping the Nexus insane scheme. It's a risky gambit, a desperate play, but I'm a desperate man, and Mavic, well, he seems to thrive on this kind of challenge. There's a gleam in his eye as we plan our assault, a hunger for action that borders on the feral. I can't help but wonder what drives him, what secrets lurk behind those flinty eyes. He's a mystery, this human, an enigma wrapped in a riddle, but right now, he's the only ally I've got, the only chance I have of setting things right, and so we prepare, gathering our resources and honing our skills. Mavic procures a battered old freighter, a rust bucket with more hidden compartments than a Cortexian puzzle box. I spend long hours poring over the codex, trying to decipher its arcane formulae and cryptic equations. It's a maddening task, a glimpse into the mind of the universe itself. The codex seems to shift and change before my eyes, its symbols and glyphs rearranging themselves in endlessly complex patterns. There are moments when I feel like I'm on the verge of understanding, when the secrets of existence seem to hover just beyond my grasp. But then they slip away, fading back into the mists of incomprehension. It's enough to drive a man insane, to shatter his mind like a crystal goblet. And yet, I cannot stop, cannot turn away from this forbidden knowledge, this glimpse into the heart of creation. The codex calls to me, whispers in my dreams, and haunts my waking hours. It is a siren song, a seductive lure that draws me ever deeper into its mysteries. Mavic watches me with hooded eyes, his expression unreadable. He knows the dangers of obsession, knows the toll it can take on a man's soul, but he says nothing, merely sharpens his blades and checks his weapons. He is a pragmatist, this human, a creature of action and instinct. And when the time comes, when the Nexus supply ship enters the system and begins its approach, he is ready. We strike like lightning, a blur of motion and fury. Mavic pilots the freighter with reckless skill, weaving through the transport's defenses like a needle through cloth. I man the weapons, breaking the ship's shields with bursts of plasma fire. It's a desperate gamble, a suicide run against impossible odds. But somehow, miraculously, it works. The transport's defenses crumble, its shield shattering like glass. We punch through the hull, breaching the ship's inner sanctum, and there, amidst the chaos and the flames, we find what we're looking for, the databanks, the secrets of the Nexus laid bare, the location of the research facility, the key to my family's salvation. But as I reach for the data, as my fingers close around the prize, a ghost from my past emerges from the shadows. Hello, Vortax, purrs a silken voice. I thought I might find you here. I spin, my heart's leaping into my throat, and there she is, as beautiful and deadly as ever. Zasha Vex, my former lover, my greatest regret. She stands amid the wreckage, her silver skin gleaming in the flickering light. Her eyes are molten gold, her smile a razor's edge. You disappoint me, Vortax, she says, her voice dripping with disdain. Running away, hiding like a coward. Is this what you've become? I feel a surge of anger, hot and bitter in my throat. I'm not running, I snarl, my hand tightening on my weapon. I'm fighting for my family, for the future of our people. Zasha laughs, a cold and brittle sound. Our people? She scoffs. You betrayed our people, Vortax. You betrayed the Technocracy, betrayed everything we stand for. The Technocracy betrayed itself. I shoot back, my voice cracking with emotion. They're tampering with forces they can't control, risking the very fabric of reality. Can't you see that? For a moment, just a moment, I see a flicker of doubt in Zasha's eyes, a hint of the woman I once knew, the brilliant scientist who questioned everything, but then it's gone, subsumed beneath the icy veneer of the Nexus assassin. It doesn't matter what I see, she says coldly. My orders are clear. Retrieve the Omega Codex and eliminate any obstacles. Her gaze flicks to Mavic, her lips curling in a sneer. Starting with your pet human. Mavic tenses, his hand dropping to his blaster, but I step forward, placing myself between them. No, I say, my voice steady. This is between us. Zasha, leave him out of it. Zasha's eyes narrow, her gaze boring into mine. You always were a fool, Vortax, she says softly. A sentimental, idealistic fool. And then she moves, faster than thought, faster than heartbeat. Her blade flashes in the darkness, a silver arc of death. I parry desperately, my own weapon leaping to my hand. And then we are dancing, a whirlwind of strikes and counterstrikes, a deadly ballet of skill and will. We fought side by side once, Zasha and I. We were a team, a partnership forged in the halls of the Science Institute. I thought I knew her every move, her every tell. But the woman I face now is a stranger, a cold and ruthless killer with no trace of mercy in her eyes. She presses me back, her blade seeking my heart with relentless precision. I feel my strength fading, my defenses crumbling. And in that moment, as death looms before me, I understand the true depths of my failure, not just to the technocracy, but to Zasha herself. I left her behind, abandoned her to the machinations of the Nexus. I was so focused on my own pain, my own loss, that I never stopped to consider hers, and now, it may be too late for redemption, too late for forgiveness. The mistakes of the past have come home to roost, and the price is blood. I brace myself for the final blow, for the cold kiss of steel in my flesh, but it never comes. Instead, there is a blinding flash, a searing burst of light and heat. Zasha staggers back, her blade falling from her grasp. Mavic stands behind her, his blaster smoking in his hand. His eyes are hard, his face set in a grim mask. I never was one for sentiment, he says flatly, but I know a thing or two about loyalty. And you, lady, you ain't got it. Zasha snarls, her hand scrabbling for her fallen weapon, but Mavic is faster, his boot pinning her wrist to the deck. Stay down, he growls, his blaster leveled at her head, or the next one goes between your eyes. I stagger to my feet, my heart's pounding in my chest. I look down at Zasha, at the woman who was once my closest friend. And I see a stranger, a twisted reflection of the technocracy's lies. I'm sorry, I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. I'm sorry for everything. Zasha stares up at me, her eyes burning with hate. Save your apologies, she spits. You'll be seeing me again, Vortax. This isn't over. And then, with a blur of motion, she is gone, vanishing into the shadows like a ghost, a specter of my past. I stand there, amid the wreckage and the ruin, my mind reeling with the weight of it all. The betrayals, the sacrifices, the bitter fruit of my own hubris. But there is no time for recrimination, no time for self-pity. The data we fought for beckons, the secrets of the Nexus waiting to be unlocked. And beyond that, my family, Zyra and Zaid, the lights of my life, they are out there somewhere, lost in the darkness, waiting for me to find them, to bring them home. I turn to Mavic, my eyes searching his face. Thank you, I say quietly, for having my back. The human shrugs, a wry smile tugging at his lips. Don't mention it, he says. We're in this together now, for better or worse. Together, the word echoes in my mind, a fragile promise in a galaxy gone mad, but it is all I have, all any of us have, in a universe where the very laws of reality are under siege. We must stand together, or fall alone. The ghosts of my past recede, fading into the shadows of memory, and in their place, a new resolve, a new determination, to fight, to strive, to do whatever it takes, for my family, for the future, for the sake of all creation. The road ahead is dark and twisted, fraught with perils both known and unknown, but I am not alone, not anymore, and with that knowledge, that fragile flicker of hope, I will face the coming storm, and the demons it brings, come what may. The aftermath of our confrontation with Zasha leaves me shaken to the core. The wounds she inflicted run deep, not just in my flesh, but in my spirit. The realization of how far she's fallen, how completely the Nexus has twisted her. It's almost too much to bear, but I don't have the luxury of wallowing in my own pain. Not now, not with the data from the supply ship burning a hole in my pocket and the fate of my family hanging in the balance. Mavic and I waste no time in decrypting the stolen files, poring over every scrap of information for clues to the location of the secret research facility. It's a painstaking process, a maddening game of connect the dots played out across light years of cold, empty space. But finally, after cycles of sleepless nights and fraying nerves, we find it, a set of coordinates, buried deep in a maze of code names and redactions. The location of the place where the Nexus is studying the Omega Codex, and where they're holding Zyra and Zaid. The facility is hidden in the heart of the Vifos Nebula, a swirling mass of gas and dust on the fringes of technocracy space. The perfect place for the Nexus to conduct their experiments in secret, far from the prying eyes of the galaxy. But they didn't count on me. Didn't count on the burning determination of a father who will stop at nothing to save his family. Mavic and I begin to plan our assault, a daring raid that will require all of our skill and cunning. We'll need to assemble a team, gather resources, find a way to slip past the Nexus' formidable defenses. It's a daunting task, a challenge that would give even the most seasoned warriors pause. But we are not warriors, Mavic and I. We are something else, something more. We are the forgotten and the forsaken, the outcasts and the rebels. We are the ones who have been beaten down and cast aside, but who refuse to stay in the shadows, and we will fight, with every fiber of our being, for the ones we love and the things we believe in. As we make our preparations, I can't shake the memory of my confrontation with Zasha, the look in her eyes, the venom in her voice. It haunts me, a specter of regret and loss. I think back to our time together at the Science Institute, to the bond we shared as colleagues and friends. I remember the spark of brilliance in her eyes, the fierce joy she took in the pursuit of knowledge, and I wonder, is that Zasha still in there somewhere? Buried beneath the layers of conditioning and control, the years of service to the Nexus' twisted agenda? Or is she truly lost, a victim of the very forces she now serves? I don't know, but I do know that I can't afford to dwell on the past, on the might-have-beens and the never-weres. The Zasha I knew is gone, consumed by the machine of the technocracy, and in her place, a stranger, a cold and merciless adversary who will stop at nothing to see me destroyed. It's a bitter pill to swallow, a harsh truth that cuts me to the quick, but I force myself to face it, to accept the reality of what lies ahead, because the stakes are too high, the consequences too dire, to cling to false hope or misplaced sentiment. The Omega Codex is out there, a ticking bomb waiting to detonate, and my family. Zyra and Zaid are in the crosshairs, pawns in a game they never asked to play. I cannot fail them, cannot let the Nexus snuff out the light of their lives in the name of their twisted ambitions. And so I push forward, burying my doubts and my fears beneath a veneer of grim determination. I focus on the mission, on the task at hand, assemble the team, gather the resources, infiltrate the facility, find the Codex, save my family, and make the Nexus pay for every life they've ruined, every dream they've shattered. It's a simple plan, a straightforward list of objectives, but the execution, that will be anything but simple. We are going up against the most powerful organization in the known universe, a monolithic empire with resources and technology beyond imagining. They will throw everything they have at us, every weapon and every soldier, every dirty trick and every underhanded tactic, but they will not break us, will not bend us to their will, because we are fighting for something more than power or profit, more than glory or gain. We are fighting for the ones we love, for the things we believe in, for the dream of a galaxy where the strong protect the weak, where the wise guide the foolish. A galaxy worth fighting for, worth dying for. And if that means storming the gates of hell itself, facing down the full might of the Nexus in all its terrible glory, then so be it. We will not falter, will not fail, because the price of failure is too high, the cost too dear. The Omega Codex must be destroyed, its dark power wiped from the face of the cosmos, and my family. Zyra and Zaid must be saved, must be protected at all costs, no matter the risks, no matter the odds. No matter the scars that will be left on my soul, the blood that will stain my hands, I am ready, ready to face the darkness, to stare into the abyss and dare it to blink first, ready to do whatever it takes, to sacrifice whatever must be sacrificed. To see this through to the end, to the bitter and bloody end, for the ones I love, for the things I believe in, for the chance to make things right, to atone for my sins and my failures. The road ahead is long and hard, a gauntlet of fire and steel, but I will walk it, will run it. Will crawl it on my hands and knees if I have to, because there is no other choice, no other path, only forward, into the breach and the fire, into the heart of the Nexus, into the belly of the beast, to save my family, to save the galaxy, or to die trying. The Vifos Nebula looms before us, a swirling maelstrom of color and light. It's a thing of terrible beauty, a cosmic artist's palette splashed across the infinite canvas of space. But beneath that beauty lurks a deadly secret, a hidden danger that threatens to consume us all. The Nexus Research Facility, buried deep within the nebula's heart, a fortress of shadows and secrets, where the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. And somewhere inside, Zyra and Zaid, the lights of my life, waiting for me, praying for me to find them. I will not let them down. Not again, not ever again, but to reach them, to breach the facility's formidable defenses. I cannot do it alone, cannot hope to triumph against the might of the Nexus with just my wits and my will. I need allies, need comrades in arms to stand with me in the fire and the fury. And so, with Mavic at my side, I set out to gather my army. We start with the outcasts, the misfits and the malcontents, the ones who have been ground beneath the heel of the technocracy, who have seen their lives and their worlds shattered by the Nexus' relentless march of progress. There's Kresh, the KRYLL berserker, a towering mass of chitin and rage, his body a patchwork of scars and cybernetic augmentations. He lost his clutchmates to a Nexus purge, saw them cut down by cold, merciless machines. Now, he lives only for vengeance, for the chance to drown his pain in the blood of his enemies. And Zyra, the Zylovian hacker, a lithe, quicksilver figure with eyes that dance with mischief and madness in equal measure. She was once a rising star in the technocracy's infonets, a prodigy of code and crypto, but she dug too deep, saw too much. And when she tried to blow the whistle, the Nexus came for her. Now, she's a ghost in the machine, a digital phantom who strikes from the shadows. We find others, too. A rogue Kiexer sharpshooter, an ex-Nexus commando haunted by the ghosts of his past, a Vrykal demolitions expert with a penchant for high explosives and higher stakes. Each of them broken, each of them damaged in their own way, but together, we are something more, something stronger, something fiercer. A band of brothers and sisters, united by our scars and our sorrows, a family, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the hammer blows of fate. And as we train and plan, as we hone our skills and sharpen our edges, I feel a sense of purpose taking root in my chest, a burning conviction, a righteous fury that sings in my blood like a battle hymn. This is what I was meant for, what I was made for, not the sterile halls of the Science Institute, not the gilded cage of Zylovian society, but this, the struggle, the sacrifice, the chance to make a difference, to change the course of history with nothing but my wits and my will. And the knowledge, deep and unshakable, that I am not alone, not anymore, not ever again. I have Mavic, my rock and my anchor, the one who pulled me back from the brink, who gave me hope when all seemed lost. I have my team, my band of misfits and outcasts, the ones who will stand with me, who will fight with me to the bitter end. And somewhere out there, I have Zyra and Zaid, my heart, my soul, the ones who give me the strength to keep going, to push through the pain and the doubt. They are waiting for me, counting on me, and I will not fail them, not this time, as our plans take shape, as the pieces fall into place. I feel a sense of grim anticipation building in my gut, a coiled tension, a crackling energy that sets my nerves alight. The time is almost upon us, the hour of reckoning drawing near, and with each passing moment, each ticking second, I feel the weight of my choices, the burden of my responsibilities, the lives that hang in the balance, the souls that depend on me. It's a heavy load to bear, a crushing pressure that threatens to drive me to my knees, but I will not buckle, will not break, because I am Vortax Xen, the last scion of a fallen house, the one who will set things right, who will balance the scales of justice. I am the father, the mate, the avenger, and I am coming for what is mine. For what was taken from me. The Nexus thinks they are safe, thinks they are untouchable behind their walls of steel and secrets. But they are wrong, so very wrong, because they have forgotten the oldest truth, the most fundamental law of the cosmos, the truth that every parent knows, every mate understands in the marrow of their bones. There is nothing in this universe or any other that can stand against the fury of a father's love, the rage of a mate's devotion, and I will remind them of that truth, will sear it into their souls with the fire of my wrath. I will come for them, with the thunder of guns and the lightning of blades, with the storm of my vengeance, the tempest of my retribution, and I will not stop, will not rest, until my family is safe, until the Omega Codex is destroyed, until the Nexus learns the true meaning of fear, the true cost of their arrogance. And if I have to tear the very stars from the sky, have to rend the fabric of reality itself, then so be it. Let the cosmos tremble, let the heavens shake, for I am coming, with the wrath of ages in my eyes and the fury of generations in my heart. I am coming. And may the gods have mercy on those who stand in my way, for I will have none, none at all. The Vifos Nebula fills the viewport, a roiling sea of gas and dust that seems to stretch into eternity. It's a sight that would take my breath away, if I had any breath left to give. But all I feel now is a grim sense of purpose, a cold determination that settles over me like a shroud. This is it, the moment of truth, the point of no return. Mavic stands at my side, his eyes hard and his jaw set. He knows what we're up against, knows the odds we face, but he's here anyway, ready to follow me into the jaws of hell itself. I feel a surge of gratitude, a fierce rush of affection for this human who has become more than just an ally. He's a friend, a brother in arms, the one who will stand with me, no matter the cost. Behind us, the rest of the team makes their final preparations, checking weapons, double-checking gear, each of them lost in their own thoughts, their own private rituals. Kresh, the KRYLL berserker, sharpens his blade with a singular focus, his compound eyes glittering with anticipation. Zycra, the Zylovian hacker, whispers arcane incantations over her data rig, her fingers dancing across the holokeys. The others, too, each in their own way, preparing themselves, steeling themselves for what's to come. And then, it's time. The facility looms before us, a behemoth of black metal and pulsing energy shields. It's a fortress, a bastion of Nexus might and power. But it's also a prison, a place of suffering and despair, the place where they're holding Zyra and Zaid, the place where they're studying the Omega Codex. And we're going to crack it open, going to rip its secrets from its cold, dead heart. The plan is simple, as the best plans often are. Zycra will hack the facility's defenses, creating an opening for Kresh and the others to launch a frontal assault. They'll draw the attention of the Nexus forces, by time for Mavic and me to infiltrate the lower levels. And then we'll find Zyra and Zaid, we'll find the Codex, and we'll burn this place to the ground. We'll leave nothing but ashes and echoes in our wake. It's a good plan, a solid plan, but no plan survives contact with the enemy, and the Nexus. They are the enemy, in every sense of the word. They're waiting for us, of course, waiting with guns and blades, with drones and death machines. They know we're coming, know we're a threat that must be eliminated, but they don't know, can't know the depth of our resolve, the fire that burns in our hearts. They think they're facing a ragtag band of rebels, a motley crew of malcontents and misfits, but what they're really facing is a family, a clan, bound by blood and tears, by love and loss. And that is something they can never understand, never defeat. The first moments of the battle are chaos, a whirlwind of fire and fury. Kresh leads the charge, a juggernaut of rage and resilience, his blade carving a path of destruction through the Nexus lines. Zycra dances through the data streams, her digital magic sowing confusion and chaos in the enemy's ranks. The others, too, each playing their part with fierce dedication and peerless skill. And Mavic and I, we slip through the cracks, ghost through the shadows, moving deeper and deeper into the belly of the beast, towards the heart of the facility, towards Zyra and Zaid, towards the Omega Codex. It's not easy, not by any stretch of the imagination. We face resistance at every turn, Nexus troops and security systems that seem to spring from the very walls. But we press on, driven by a force that will not be denied. The force of a father's love, a mate's devotion, the force of a family, fighting for its own. And then, at last, we find them. Zyra, my love, my heart, battered and bruised, but alive, so alive. Her eyes meet mine, and in that moment, everything else falls away. The pain, the fear, the doubts, all of it, gone in an instant. And Zaid, my son, my light, cradled in his mother's arms, his tiny face streaked with tears. He reaches for me, and I gather him to my chest, feeling his warmth, his life, feeling whole, for the first time in an eternity. But there's no time for reunions, no time for tears of joy or sighs of relief, because we're not done, not yet. The Omega Codex still lies ahead, still pulses with its dark and terrible power. We have to find it, have to destroy it, have to end this, once and for all. Mavic takes the lead, his steps sure and his eyes sharp. He's been here before, in places like this, knows the twists and turns, the secrets and the shadows. And I follow, my family at my side and my heart in my throat, knowing that every step, every breath could be my last, could be the end of everything, but I do not falter, do not hesitate, because this is what I was made for. This is my purpose, my calling, to protect, to defend, to fight, with every fiber of my being, for the ones I love, for the things I believe in, for the future, for the hope of a better tomorrow. And so I go, into the breach and the fire, into the heart of darkness, the belly of the beast, to face my destiny, to meet my fate, come what may, come what will, for Zyra, for Zaid, for the Omega Codex, for the fate of the galaxy, for the chance to make things right, to find redemption in the eyes of the cosmos. I am Vortax Xen, and I will not be denied. Not now, not ever again. The heart of the Nexus facility is a nightmare made manifest, a twisted labyrinth of shadowed corridors and pulsing energy fields. It's a place that seems to defy the very laws of nature, a place where reality itself bends and buckles under the weight of the Omega Codex's dark power. But we push on, Mavic and I, driven by a force that will not be denied, the force of desperation, of determination, the force of a love that transcends all boundaries, all barriers. Zyra and Zaid are safe now, hidden away in a stolen Nexus transport under the watchful eyes of Kresh and the others. They'll get them off this accursed station, get them to somewhere safe, somewhere far away from here, from the horrors that lurk in the depths of this forsaken place. But for Mavic and me, there can be no retreat, no escape. We have to see this through, have to finish what we started, have to destroy the Omega Codex, once and for all. The chamber where they're keeping it is a vast, cavernous space, filled with a sickly green light that seems to pulse and throb with a life of its own. The Codex itself floats at the center of a web of energy beams, a twisting, shifting mass of symbols and glyphs that hurts the eyes to look at. And before it, standing tall and proud in her silver armor, is Zasha Vex, my old friend, my bitter enemy, the one who betrayed me, who betrayed everything we once stood for. She turns to face us as we enter, her eyes cold and her smile cruel. Vortex, she says, her voice a mocking purr. I knew you'd come, knew you couldn't resist the lure of the Codex. I feel a surge of rage, a white-hot fury that threatens to consume me, but I push it down, force it back. This is not the time for anger, for recrimination. This is the time for action, for doing what must be done. It's over, Zasha, I say, my voice steady and my gaze level. The Codex must be destroyed. It's too dangerous, too powerful. It will bring nothing but ruin and despair. She laughs, a sound like shattering glass. Oh, Vortex, she sighs. Always so short-sighted, so limited in your vision. The Codex is not a threat. It's an opportunity, a chance to reshape the very fabric of reality, to mold the universe in our image. I shake my head, a slow, sad motion. And who are we to play God, Zasha? Who are we to decide the fate of billions, of entire worlds? That path leads only to darkness, to the abyss. She shrugs, a casual, dismissive gesture. So be it, she says. Better to rule in hell than serve in heaven, as the humans say. And with the Codex, I will rule, Vortex. I will be the mistress of all creation. And with that, she unleashes a blast of dark energy from her outstretched hand, a seething bolt of pure destruction that lances towards us with terrifying speed. But Mavic is faster, his reflexes honed by a lifetime of combat and survival. He shoves me aside, takes the brunt of the blast on his own armored form, and then all hell breaks loose. The chamber erupts into a maelstrom of fire and fury, a swirling vortex of clashing energies and colliding wills. Zasha is a force of nature, a whirlwind of rage and power that seems to fill the entire room. But Mavic and I, we are a team, a unit forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the bonds of friendship. We fight as one, moving in perfect sync, anticipating each other's every move. It's a dance, in a way, a deadly, desperate dance, where the slightest misstep could mean the end of everything. But we do not falter. Do not hesitate, because we know what's at stake. Know the price of failure, the fate of the galaxy, the lives of billions, the future of our loved ones, the hope of a better tomorrow. And so we fight, with every ounce of strength and skill we possess. We fight for Zyra and Zaid, for the brave souls who followed us into this hell. We fight for the lost and the fallen, for the ones who will never see the dawn again. And most of all, we fight for each other, for the bond that ties us together, the bond of brothers, of comrades in arms, the bond of family, in all but blood. And in the end, it's that bond that saves us, that carries us through the fire and the fury. It's that bond that gives us the strength to do what must be done, to make the ultimate sacrifice, the final choice, for in that last, desperate moment, as Zasha closes in for the kill, her eyes blazing with mad triumph, Mavic throws himself at the Omega Codex, his body wreathed in a corona of searing light. He plunges his hands into the heart of the artifact, into the very matrix of its power, and with a scream that echoes through the ages, a cry that shakes the very foundations of the universe, he tears it asunder, rips it apart with the sheer force of his will. The Codex explodes in a blinding flash of pure, white radiance, a supernova of unimaginable proportions. It engulfs Zasha, engulfs the chamber, engulfs everything in its path, and when the light fades, when the smoke clears, there is nothing left, nothing but ashes and echoes, nothing but the memory of a hero's sacrifice, a friend's final gift. Mavic is gone, lost to the void and the fire, but his legacy lives on, in the hearts and minds of those he saved, in the future he bought with his blood, the hope he kindled with his courage, and in me, in the man I have become, the man I will always strive to be, in honor of his memory. For I am Vortax Xen, the last scion of a fallen house, the father, the mate, the friend, the one who will carry on, who will fight the good fight, for Zyra, for Zaid, for Mavic, for the lost and the fallen, for the future, for the dream of a better world. I will not let them down, not now, not ever again. And though the road ahead is long and dark, though the shadows gather and the storm clouds rise, I know I am not alone, will never be alone, for I carry them with me, always, in my heart, in my soul, in the very fabric of my being, and together we will face the future, whatever it may bring. Together, we will find the strength to carry on, to hope, to dream, to live. The aftermath of the battle is a blur, a hazy mix of pain and grief and bone-deep exhaustion. I barely remember the escape, the frantic rush to the transport as the Nexus facility crumbles around us. All I can think of is Mavic, of his final moments, the look in his eyes, the calm acceptance as he faced his destiny, the sacrifice he made, for me, for all of us. It's a debt I can never repay, a burden I will carry for the rest of my days. But it's also a gift, a reminder of what true friendship means, of what it means to be a hero, in the truest sense of the word. Zyra and Zaid are waiting for me when I stumble onto the transport, their faces streaked with tears and their eyes wide with fear. They rush to me, enfold me in a desperate embrace that threatens to break me all over again. But I hold them close, hold them tight, let their warmth, their love, seep into my battered soul. Let it heal me, in the only way that matters. We don't speak, not at first. There are no words, no platitudes that can do justice to what we've endured, to what we've lost. But in the silence, in the stillness, we find a kind of peace, a kind of solace, a recognition that we are alive, that we are together, that we have been given a second chance, a new beginning. And as the transport carries us away from the ruins of the Nexus facility, as the stars blur into the swirling vortex of hyperspace, I feel a sense of purpose taking root in my heart, a flicker of hope that refuses to be extinguished. The Omega Codex is gone, destroyed by Mavic's sacrifice, but its legacy lives on, in the changed galaxy it leaves behind, a galaxy where the Nexus has been humbled, where their grip on power has been shaken to its core. A galaxy where the downtrodden and the oppressed have been given a chance to rise, to seize their own destiny. A galaxy where hope is not just a dream, but a reality waiting to be born. And I have a role to play in that birth, in that great unfolding, not as a scientist, not as a warrior, but as a father, as a mate, as a man who has seen the face of evil and chosen to stand against it, a man who will fight, with every breath in his body, to make the future a better place for his children. For all children, everywhere. It will not be easy. I know that. The scars of the past run deep. The wounds of the present still ache and bleed. But I am not alone, will never be alone. I have Zyra and Zaid, the lights of my life. I have the memories of Mavic, the strength of his example, and I have the knowledge, deep and unshakable, that there are others out there like me, other lost souls, other broken hearts, other fighters, ready to take up the call, ready to stand against the darkness and the despair, ready to build a new world, a better world, one day, one dream at a time. And so, as the transport carries us towards an uncertain future, towards a destiny yet unwritten, I make a vow, a promise to the universe itself, to Zyra and Zaid, to Mavic and all the fallen, to myself, and the man I want to be. I will not rest, will not falter. I will not let the sacrifices be in vain, the losses be forgotten. I will carry on the fight, in whatever way I can. I will be a light in the darkness, a beacon of hope in the night. I will be a father to my children, a mate to my love, a friend to the friendless, a voice for the voiceless, a champion of the just, a defender of the innocent. The first will be a hero, in the truest sense of the word, for that is the legacy of the Omega Codex, the gift and the burden it bestows, the chance to make a difference, to shape the future, the opportunity to be more, to mean more, to live, with purpose and with passion, to love, with all my heart and all my soul, to fight, with every fiber of my being, for the ones I hold dear, for the things I believe in, for the dream of a better tomorrow, a brighter future, a future where my children can grow, can thrive, can know the joys and the wonders of a universe reborn, a galaxy remade, a future worth fighting for, worth dying for, worth living for, with every beat of my heart. And so I will, Mavic, I will, for you, for Zyra and Zaid, for the lost and the fallen, the hopeful and the brave, for the chance to make a difference, to be the change I wish to see. I will live, my friend, I will live, and I will fight, until my last breath, until the stars themselves fade and die. I will carry on your legacy, your dream, our dream, of a better world, a world where heroes are born, where legends are made, where hope never dies, and love conquers all. I am Vortax Xen, father, mate, friend, hero, in the making, and I will not be denied. Not now, not ever, for the future is ours to shape, ours to mold, ours to dream into being, one day at a time, and dream it we shall, Mavic, dream it we shall, together, always, I am the light of the stars, in the fire of our hearts. Until the end of time, and beyond, I swear it, my brother, I swear it, on my life and my love, on the memory of all we have lost, and the promise of all we may yet gain. The journey is just beginning, the story yet untold, but I am ready, Mavic, ready to face it, to embrace it, to live it, with all that I am, for you, for us, for the future, for the dream, for the legacy of the Omega Codex, and the hope of a galaxy reborn. I am ready, and I will not fail, not now, not ever. This, I swear, on my honor, on my soul, on the love that binds us, the faith that guides us, on the courage that defines us, the strength that sustains us. I will fight, I will live, I will dream, and the universe will never be the same. It's been a year since the fall of the Nexus, since the day that changed everything, a year of rebuilding, of healing, of learning to live in a galaxy freed from the shadow of oppression and fear. It hasn't been easy. The scars run deep, the wounds still ache. There are those who cling to the old ways, who fear the change and the uncertainty that comes with it. But there are also those who embrace it, who see the promise and the potential in this brave new world, who look to the future with hope in their hearts and fire in their eyes. I count myself among them. Now, I, who once looked to the stars with nothing but despair and dread, who saw only the darkness, the emptiness, but I have learned, in this last year, learned to see the light, the beauty, to find the joy and the wonder in the simple things, the precious moments, to cherish the time I have with Zyra and Zaid, the love that we share, to honor the memory of Mavic, the sacrifice he made, to live, not just survive, to dream, not just endure. It's a lesson that the galaxy is learning, too, slowly, painfully, with each passing day, each small victory. The resistance has become the alliance, a beacon of freedom and justice in a universe that has known too little of both. They work to rebuild what was lost, to heal what was broken, to forge a new path, a better path, one where all beings, regardless of species or station, can live in peace and prosperity. It's a noble goal, a lofty dream, but it's one that I believe in, with all my heart, one that I will fight for, as long as I draw breath, for I am a part of that alliance. Now, a part of something greater than myself, than any one being. I am a voice for the voiceless, a champion for the oppressed, a father, teaching his children the ways of compassion and courage, a mate, standing side by side with the woman I love, facing whatever challenges may come, a friend, honoring the bonds of loyalty and sacrifice that tie us all together, a hero, in the truest sense of the word, for that is the legacy of the Omega Codex, the promise and the price of the power it represented, not dominion, not destruction, but the chance to be more, to do more, to make a difference, in ways both great and small, to touch the lives of others, to kindle the spark of hope and decency that lies within us all. That is the task I have taken up, the mission I have chosen, not because it is easy, but because it is right, because it is necessary, if this galaxy is to have any chance at a future worth living, and I will see it through, no matter the cost, no matter the danger or the darkness that lies ahead, for I am not alone, will never be alone. I have Zyra and Zaid, the lights of my life. I have the memory of Mavic, the strength of his spirit. I have the alliance, the brave souls who stand with me, who share my dream, and I have the love, the unshakable, unbreakable love that binds us all together. That gives us the courage to face the unknown, to strive for the impossible, to reach for the stars, and beyond, for that is our destiny, our calling, to explore, to discover, to seek out new life, new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before, to chart the uncharted and dream the undreamed, and to do it together, hand in hand, heart to heart, soul to soul, as family, as friends, as the inheritors of a legacy that stretches back to the dawn of time, and forward to the very end of eternity, the legacy of hope, of courage, of the indomitable spirit that lies within us all, waiting to be awakened, the spirit that drove Mavic to his final sacrifice, that drove me to take up his cause, that drives us all, in our own way, to be more, to do more, to make a difference, however we can. And so, as I sit here in the quiet of the night, my family sleeping peacefully beside me, I feel a sense of peace, of purpose, a certainty that, whatever may come, we will face it together. We will stand against the darkness, and we will prevail. We will build the future we dream of, the galaxy we know is possible, a galaxy of wonder and exploration, of friendship and discovery, of hope and of love, a galaxy where the name of Mavic Xen is spoken with reverence and gratitude, where his sacrifice is remembered and honored, where the story of the Omega Codex is told and retold, passed down from generation to generation, as a reminder of what we once were, and what we can be again, of the power that lies within us, waiting to be unleashed, the power to change, to grow, to evolve, and to transcend, to reach for the stars, and to grasp them in our hands. That is the future I see, the vision that sustains me, the dream that I will fight for, with every breath in my body, for Zyra and Zaid, for Mavic and the Fallen, for the Alliance, and for all the generations yet to come, for the love that guides us, and the hope that drives us, for the stars that call to us, and the universe that awaits us. I am ready, my friends, ready to face whatever lies ahead, to embrace the unknown, to live, to love, to fight, and to dream, for that is my destiny, my calling, my choice, and my chance, to be a part of something greater, something grander, to make my mark, and to leave a legacy of courage, of compassion, of hope, and of love, the legacy of the Omega Codex, and of all those who fought and died for its promise. The legacy of a galaxy reborn, a universe remade, a legacy that will endure, long after I am gone, that will inspire and uplift, for generations to come, a legacy of heroes, and of dreamers, of those who dared to reach for the stars, and to make them their own. I am one of them, now, a father, a mate, a friend, and a hero, and I will not fail, will not falter. I will stand, and I will fight, for the future, for the dream, for the love that binds us, and the hope that guides us, for the stars that call us, and the universe that awaits us. I am Vortax Xen, and I am ready, ready to live, to love, to fight, and to dream, until the end of my days, and beyond, for the legacy of the Omega Codex, and the promise of a galaxy reborn, for the future, and for all those who will come after, for the love that sustains us, and the hope that drives us, for the stars, and for the dream, always, and forever. This, I swear, on my life, on my love, on the memory of all that we have lost, and the promise of all that we may yet gain. The story is just beginning, the journey yet untold, but I am ready, my friends, ready to face it, to embrace it, to live it, with all that I am, for the future, for the dream, for the legacy of the Omega Codex, and the hope of a galaxy reborn. I am Vortax Xen, and this is my story, my legacy, my promise, to the stars and the universe, to all those who came before, and all those yet to come. I will remember, and I will fight, I will live, and I will love.
I will dream, and I will hope, always, and forever, until the end of time, and beyond. This, I swear, on my honor, on my heart, on the love that guides me, and the hope that sustains me, on the courage that drives me, and the strength that upholds me. I will stand, and I will fight, for the future, for the dream, for the legacy of the Omega Codex, and the promise of a galaxy reborn, now and always, until the stars themselves fade and die, and the universe is but a memory. I will remember, and I will endure. I will live, and I will love. I will fight, and I will dream. For I am Vortax Xen, and this is my story, my legacy, my gift, to the future and the stars, to all those who dare to dream, and to hope, to all those who fight, and who love. I stand with you, now and always, in the light of the stars, and the fire of our hearts, until the end of time, and beyond. This, I swear, on my life, on my love, on the dream that binds us, and the hope that guides us, forever and always. Amen.